Hey, welcome back, my amazing student. So in this lecture here, we're going to continue learning about OOP, Object-Oriented Programming. So this is part of the mini series that I got. The link is on the description, all right? So in this series here, we're going to learn about what OOP is, how we can actually create application using it. But on this lecture here, what we're going to talk about is the init method and the self keyword, right? So on the last lecture, we had a class that looked like this, right? Okay, and we have this really weird thing on top called init. It's actually like this, init. This is actually a method. Now, this method here is gonna run automatically every time we create an object from this class. For example, remember that we had something like this on the last lecture. We had this variable called account1, right? Now, we were creating this variable from the blueprint. So we had the blueprint here, right? That's the class. And we were passing down this data, Jose, and then we had something like this, right? The balance. So we're passing the name and the balance into that blueprint. Now, this init method here, because it runs automatically, we use it to construct the actions and data of our objects. So every time you create an object, which this is an object right now, this is gonna run automatically in every situation possible. This will be the constructor. It will construct the data and the actions, which are the functions, right? So let's go ahead and let's pass in this other thing called the keyword self. This self keyword here just means this particular object, okay? This class here. So I'm gonna pass in the name and the balance, right? That's what we're passing in here. Now, we don't need to put this here like anything. We don't need to put anything here. We'll just start with this here. Forget about the self. The self is gonna be included automatically here because we need to use it, okay? So for example, I'm gonna use the self keyword here to say, I wanna grab the name variable that's coming in, the data that's coming in from outside, and I want to assign it to an inside property. Well, this is called a property now because it's inside the blueprint. So we changed the name of things a little bit inside the blueprint, inside the class. Functions are called methods, and the data, right, the variables are called properties. You're also going to hear variables called attributes, okay? When they are inside a class, you're gonna hear those names, those words a lot. Attributes and properties, all right? Just keep that in mind. So we are assigning the data. In this case, we're assigning name into an inside property of this class, all right? So the reason why this is different than this now, because we're using the self keyword. We're saying, hey, this class property is called name. It's very different from this guy here, all right? So that's why we use self to reference this class. So we're gonna create a variable here or a property called balance, and we're gonna pass in that data with this variable that's coming from outside. Simple as that. So now we're constructing that. Now we have this information available to us, right? So now we can come here and let's say just print here, and we can grab account number 1. And we can say, well, account number 1, let me get the name from account number 1. What's the name of it? What name do we have, right? So let's go ahead and run this. And you can see that it says Jose there. All right, let me just make this bigger so you can see it. You can see that it says Jose. So we access the properties and methods of our classes with that notation. All right? So everything is an object in Python. We have been using that. If you notice some of my other playlists, we have been using that notations, all right? Nothing weird here going on, nothing new. But anyway, so if I had a function called, let's say, withdraw, then I would do dot withdraw, right? And the parentheses. But in this case, since it's a property, I don't use parentheses, all right? So as you can see here, this is, the init, it runs automatically. So now this data will be used in, our object. And in this case, we only have data, all right? And most of the time, that's what you're gonna have in here. But every time you wanna set up your blueprint, you're gonna use the init function here to do the initializing of your data or, initializing of your blueprint, all right, of your object. So anyway, guys, that's it for the init and the self keyword. Thank you so much for watching. If you guys understood this very clearly, give me a like and jump into the next lecture. And let's keep mastering Python step by step. And let's finish this playlist. I'll see you guys on the next lecture.